Okay. Manage participants. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavad-gita ki.
Jai.
This is the reason why we even bother with this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, is because the study that we're doing here, it is not an academic study. It is not something that we're doing just to pass a test or something like that. This process of studying the words of the Lord is actually one of the ways of worshiping the Lord. It is like offering arti or offering some nice food that we've prepared. It is like doing a kirtan for the pleasure of the Lord. So before we offer anything, we first bow down to the Lord and say, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That my Lord, now I'm bowing to you. Please accept this as an offering. So this trying to understand what Krishna has explained to us is a form of pleasing the Lord, is a form of devotional service. And so we have to approach it that way. We have to approach it as a way that, okay, maybe even if I don't understand all these points, even if I don't understand all these complicated English words or abstract concepts, that's fine. If I do, it's good. If not, that's also okay. I'm just trying to understand it. And if I don't understand, I can ask questions. But the attempt to really grasp the point that the Lord is trying to pass on to us, that attempt is seen by the Lord as sincere. Because we want to use this knowledge to increase our depth of Krishna consciousness and our love for the Supreme Lord, our understanding of Him. And we want to understand from Him what He wants us to do. When we love somebody, we want to know what kind of food that He prefers, what kind of behavior, attitude that He prefers that I develop. So similarly, when we want to please the Lord, we want to also try to understand from His own words what He prefers. Of course, we can also speculate ourselves. I think He will like this, He will like that. But if we know more specifically He prefers this, for example, the feather of an ostrich is quite beautiful, and we can put it on Krishna's turban. But we know He prefers peacock feather. So knowing that He prefers peacock feather will give us an advantage of pleasing Him more. Now, if we think ostrich feather looks nice, we can put it. He'll be also happy. But He will be happier if we make an attempt to understand what He prefers. That's the whole point of studying Bhagavad-gita. To understand what He prefers that we do. Even at the end of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says, I've told you all these things, but you, Arjuna, you do as you feel now what you think is right. At the end, He says like that. See, so even at the end, He'll give us a choice to do what He prefers or not do. That's fine. And then we have to deal with the consequences of our own actions. And He lays it out very nicely. So let us recap real quick, right? Arjuna has spoken all these different 5 reasons why he shouldn't fight. It doesn't make sense to him. It's so much sinful, and the whole society will be degraded and family will be destroyed and so on. And then Krishna says, look, you speak very wise words, but actually those are truly wise. The life or death, these things don't really affect them emotionally so much. And then Arjuna asked, and how is it that wise are not shaken by death? And Krishna says that, look, we'll never die, I'll never die, you're eternal, these kings, everybody's eternal. Then what is death? So death is basically changing of form, and constantly we're dying in one sense, because the baby body is dead and then the bigger boy's body is there and so on. Become a man, that body is gone when he's much older, and then when you die, that body is gone, you get another body. So it's really just changing of form, right? As time passes, you're constantly changing form. So death is not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of existence. Then Arjuna asks, okay, yes, but this, even though it's just a transformation, it's very shaking and unpleasant, hurtful transformations, unpleasant. And Krishna says, of course it's unpleasant, but What's important is when you're doing your duty, sometimes unpleasant things happen, sometimes pleasant things happen. These are just superficial sensations. You just tolerate them and do the higher duty. What is dharma? Understand that. And when you do the duty while tolerating pleasant and unpleasant without being deviated, that attitude will liberate you from the cycle of karma. So introduces this concept of cycle of karmic reactions. So then Arjuna says, yes, but how do I become wise enough to do that? And Krishna says, first understand deeply what is real, what is unreal, what is permanent, what is temporary. And basically what is life force or spirit soul, and what is matter, which is external body. Okay? And then Arjuna says, I want to understand in detail then what do you mean by real, unreal, permanent, temporary. So then Krishna says, if it can be destroyed, it's not real. And if it's indestructible, then it is real. And Arjuna says, is it possible to have anything indestructible? And Krishna says, yes. Life force itself is immutable, never changes. And what is unreal is this body. The body is temporary, and it is the external covering or the external form of the infinite soul. So then someone who understands this very well, he will follow his duty and he will fight, a proper Kshatriya. Like you should do that. And Arjuna says, well, how does he deal with this pain and confusion? And Krishna explains that, look, if you understand that we're spirit soul, we cannot be killed, other people cannot be killed, then you can deal with it. Arjuna asks for the proof of soul, and Krishna says, look, in the Upanishad is there. This life essence never was born, it's never get destroyed. Someone like you should understand this, that it's indestructible. So you should not fear anything. And even if you don't accept the scriptures as proof, even if you look at it just scientifically, we are nothing and then we become something, we return to nothing. Ultimately, what's the loss anyway? Right? Essence of life is indestructible in that scenario also. So then Arjuna asks what happens to the soul when the body dies. And Krishna gives example. It's like changing clothes. Take off the old clothes, throw and put on the new ones. Okay? And then how is it that soul is not damaged or changed by this change of clothes? He says it's like this is the nature of the soul. It's impervious. You can't cut it with a blade. You can't burn it. It's everlasting and so on. And this all animating force is distinctly eternal. So you should not run away from your responsibilities. Okay? Don't hesitate to suffer in the process of doing your duty and your responsibilities. Okay? So this is a summary of the key points we have covered so far. Pleasant and unpleasant, they're just sensations. You should tolerate them. The concept of liberation from karma is there. And then the wise, they see the difference between real and unreal, permanent, temporary, body is temporary, proof is in the Vedas. And the grief should not cause you to run from responsibilities. Then what are my responsibilities? I become so confused. He says, look, you're a warrior. And your responsibility is to fight and protect the good cause. Otherwise, you lose your glory and gain the stain of guilt. Did we cover this the last time?
At this point, I removed my clothes.
Do you remember? I don't recall if we covered this the last time. Okay. Anyone remember?
No, Prabhu, we didn't cover.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
We did not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. Let me go back one more slide. Yeah, because we ended up with this summary of key points.
Correct. Yeah, that's where we ended. Yeah.
So now, the reason why I put these key points is the topic is changing. Up till now, the point was the spirit soul and the difference between soul and body and so on. So now he's going to change the topic to what is responsibility. Arjuna asked for, okay, fine, you talk about responsibility. In my situation right now, what are my responsibilities? I become so confused. So then Krishna says, this is a picture of Arjuna. This is what you should do. This is what you are best at. You are a warrior. Your greatest responsibility is to fight, to protect a good cause. That's what Kshatriya is supposed to do. It's supposed to protect the weak, protect the innocent, protect dharma, protect the principles of dharma, and destroy adharmic elements. Warriors who fight for such causes without selfish motive find the gates of paradise open wide. If you don't take up your role in this fight, you will neglect your responsibilities. Thus, you will lose your glory and gain the stain of guilt. Right? Swargadvaram apavritam. So now Swarga or paradise in this case is referring to the heavenly planets, where people live for millions and millions of years and very high standard of living, like Indra Lok, and it's very beautiful, long life, excellent luxuries. I mean, you can't compare that with anything found in this world. So Krishna is offering Arjuna one of the advantages of following his responsibility as Kshatriya. He's saying you can go to paradise. Now, remember, paradise is not a spiritual goal. It is actually an enticement for people to do right things because you enjoy a high standard of sense gratification. You see? So he's offering a very like a fruitive or a materialistic goal here. Krishna is actually offering that to him. And he has a purpose in doing so. He's basically trying to say that it's a win-win situation. Even if you're a materialist, you will gain from this. Right? If you don't take up your role, you'll neglect your responsibilities and you lose your glory and gain the stain of guilt. All the other Kshatriyas will criticize you. I think we might have for some reason. Okay. At this point, I really don't mind losing glory, he said. Glory is not important for me. I'm just so depressed. And then Krishna says, oh, please, you're a moral person. For someone like you, dishonor is worse than death. You know that. And if you flee this battle, people will proclaim your dishonor forever. So now he's giving another angle. One angle is you're enjoying paradise. Another bad reaction if you run away is that people will spit on you. Your dishonor is worse than death for someone who's so honorable like you. Then Arjuna is like, well, maybe they'll honor me as a good man. I'll become a sadhu like this guy over here. I'll hold on to my bow just in case, someone comes to attack me, but I'll just be a sadhu. Maybe they'll honor me. I'm as a good man who renounced the world for the sake of non-violence. Come on, he could have killed so many people, but look how nice, generous-hearted he is. He let them all live. He put away his kingdom, everything, and moved to the forest. So Arjuna is trying to show, look, maybe I'll be honored like this. But what is the flip side of this? He said, Arjuna, we are talking about warriors. Kshatriyas don't particularly care when other Kshatriyas put on the saffron and walk away. They hold you now in the highest esteem. Arjuna, the greatest Dhanurdhar. But if you flee the battle, they will only be able to think that you fled out of cowardice. Right? Cowardice. They will terribly slander and condemn you. What could be more painful? Think about that. Right? So, let's see who else we got over here. Just want to make sure. Pavitra Mataji joined. Nisha Mataji joined. So make sure. Okay. Thank you for joining. So he's saying they will not think of you as a very great, Mahatma Gandhi or something. No. It's non-violence is not for you. Kshatriyas means you have to do violence. Violence is your job. Violence is required. So then Arjuna is saying, okay, fine, but still it's so painful that even if I get the kingdom, I get paradise, it'll not make up for the pain of killing all my friends. So then Krishna offers a different motivation. Up till now, his motivation was you'll enjoy paradise, you'll enjoy glory among Kshatriyas, and you will suffer infamy and inglory if you run away. Arjuna rejected, I don't care about those things at all. Glory, inglorious, fame, I don't care. Pain is too depressing. Then Krishna says, you rise, you must elevate your mind and act from a less selfish platform. Your pain, my depression, you're thinking of yourself only. Forget about what you think. Forget about your depression. It's not important. Become less selfish. We must do whatever is our duty, ignore pleasure and displeasure, loss and gain, victory and defeat. Sukhe dukhe same kritva, labha labho, jaya jayo. Right? And yuddhaya krita nishchaya. See, this victory, yuddhaya krita nishchaya. That means that pleasure, pain, loss, gain, victory, defeat, treat them as all the same. Sukhe dukhe same kritva. Same. Same is a spelling, S-A-M-E. Same means same exact spelling in English also and Sanskrit also. Same kritva. Treat them the same, victory, defeat. Because duty is higher than all these others. And it is selfless when you do your duty without that. Then you will never incur karmic reaction. Right? So stay a warrior, but think deeply. And then rise above your selfishness. So now we're going to recap some terminology. This is where it gets very technical. But it's important for us to understand each of these terms because Krishna uses them repeatedly. And when we use terminology and they have not been clearly defined, it can cause a lot of confusion down the line. So this is a point where you're going to take some notes. Of course, I'll share this with you. This is a point you remember each of these, okay? So yoga. Yoga is a process to connect to the Supreme. It comes from the root yuj, which means to join or connect. Okay, so remember we used lots of terms of yoga. You will hear like Hatha Yoga and Dhyana Yoga and Karma Yoga and Buddhi Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. In fact, every chapter in Bhagavad-gita, all 18 of them are called something yoga.
Is it okay if we write down a question and perhaps maybe ask later?
Yeah, of course, perhaps. You can always ask. You can even jump in and ask now, that's fine. But if you don't disrupt the flow, then you can hold on to your questions and write them down. You can also chat your questions on the chat line over there. Okay? All right. So what is yoga? Yoga means to connect. Connect with who? It means to connect to the Supreme. Any process that is aimed at connecting to Krishna, that is called yoga. Anything that is called yoga, but the aim is not explicitly connect to Supreme, it is not actually yoga. You know, like I'm going to my yoga class. That is not actually yoga. That yoga class was stretching and all that. But if the aim of that stretching was not meant to bring me closer to Krishna, then it is not truly yoga. Now, if I go to yoga class with the aim that I'll make my body fit enough that I can sit properly and focus on chanting Krishna's name, then that yoga class actually is yoga. Because the aim was to please Krishna ultimately, you see? Okay, that's yoga. Jnana means knowledge. Right? Everyone knows Jnana means knowledge. That's pretty easy. However, we'll see that the term Jnana Yoga means something that is related to this, but has very specific meaning. Okay? So Jnana Yoga means the practice of cultivating knowledge specifically of the soul and the spirit. Generally implies meditation and study, not active work. This definition causes so much confusion that Arjuna has to ask this question 3 times in Bhagavad Gita. He asks it here, he asks it again in 3rd chapter, he asks it again in the 4th and 5th chapter, like that. I still don't understand. It is actually confusing because you're calling it yoga and you call it Jnana Yoga, which means knowledge yoga, using knowledge. But the implication is that Jnana Yoga means I just sit in one place, read a lot, meditate and study. I don't go to work, I don't go to cook or clean, I don't bother with anything else. I just stay at home or stay somewhere in one place and just study and meditate. Okay. So this is the implication of this. It actually means that. Which is why when Krishna explains Jnana Yoga and working through Jnana, it confuses the heck out of Arjuna. Because he keeps asking, okay, on one hand you say Jnana is great, Jnana Yoga is great, fantastic. But on the other hand, you keep saying fight, fight. What is this? I mean, I'm confused. On one hand you're saying sit down, on the other hand you're saying stand up. So tell me clearly. So that's why this understanding is very important of this point of Jnana Yoga. Okay? Karma means doing something. Karma. Kar. Kar is Hindi for do, or Gujarati we say kar. Karma means any activity that we do, which are materialistic activities, which have something to do with matter. You move matter here and there, that's karma. Generally, karma refers to fruitive activities. Fruitive activities mean I will work something, I'll create something, I'll work for somebody, I'll make some money, or I'll gain some fruit out of it. I'll plant some trees and some fruit will come and I'll eat it. something for me to enjoy. Work done for some material results aimed at personal enjoyment. That is karma, karmic activities. Karmic activities have karmic reactions because the aim of that activity was my own sense gratification, something selfish, something materially motivated. All right, clear? Next. Then you must have heard of Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda refers to regulated fruitive activities authorized in the materialistic section of Vedas, meant for very gradual elevation. Kanda means section of a particular book. Like, Ramayana has so many kands, right? Right? So Sundar Kand, and then there's like Ayodhya Kand, like that. Kanda just means a section of a large book. Okay? So in the Vedas, which is huge, much bigger than Ramayana or anything else, there is a section called Karma Kand. In that section, depending on what your material goal is, say you want to be very successful in business of a particular kind, then you do this kind of yajna. If you want a very good husband, then you do this kind of fasting, you worship this kind of demigod, you do this kind of tapasya. If you want, whatever, if you want a nice house, you do this, you do that, you appease. So this karma kanda means the goal is still not Krishna. The goals are selfish, materialistic aim to enjoy. But they're distinctly different from the regular karmis. Why? Because they recognize the authority of the Vedas. And in all of these karma kandas processes, there's always some name of Narayan or Krishna or Oms always being recited. So there's some connection with the Supreme there. So the Vedas in the karma kanda offer as enticements these materialistic goals. And the whole idea is that let's attract as many people as possible, while give them very gradual elevation to learn to accept authority of God. Otherwise, people will just not have any respect for God at all. So it's karma kanda. Okay, it's different from karma because you're accepting Vedas, and it's regulated. All right. Then karma yoga. So we talk about karma, which is like totally materialistic activities, nothing to do with Vedas. Forget it. You just do what you feel like with no regulation. Then karma kanda is regulated based on Vedas. Karma yoga is a process of working to connect with Krishna, to connect with the Supreme. Right? Remember, yoga only comes in when you're connecting with God. So if I'm working with the purpose of connecting with God, then that is called karma yoga. Now, even within karma yoga, there's two types. There's sakama karma yoga and nishkama karma. Sakama, it's when you're just starting the karma yoga process. Sakama. Kama means my own desires. What do I want? So it's a karma yoga where I want to be connected with Krishna and I want to work. I want to start giving the fruits of my work to Krishna. But I'm still attached to the fruits themselves. But I know the goal is to give fruits to Krishna. So I start it, a starting point, where I start giving a little bit of my fruits. Most of them, I'm still attached to the fruits. I'm attached to enjoying them. But I know that I want to give some to Krishna, and we start doing that. That is called sakama karma. That is initial stages of proper karma yoga, where I'm attached to the fruits. Nishkam karma yoga is where the person is doing work for Krishna, but he's not attached to the fruits at all, and he serves selflessly. Is that clear? So it doesn't matter the fruits that come, they go, doesn't matter. He's completely detached from the fruits. He gives all the fruits to Krishna. Is that clear? Okay, any questions at this point? Yeah? You had a question?
Yeah, so in general, a question can be asked that, okay, so what karma we should perform to be aligned with the, what Krishna is saying in Krishna conscious philosophy, right? Everybody has something that they want for themselves. So then it is sakam karma. Everybody has, has to do a job. So it's karma. You have to do a job. You need things for yourself. You need things for your family also. So how do we understand it in the light of this, what Krishna is preaching in this battlefield?
Yeah, very good question. Excellent question, because Krishna elaborates on this quite a bit, specifically to your point, that we need to work just to survive. And Krishna actually says that in one of the upcoming verses. He will say that you can't even maintain your body without working. So work you must do. Don't think you can escape the work part of it. See, so now how to apply that is going to explain, Krishna is going to explain it quite a bit in depth, where we'll introduce the concept of the yoga ladder. In fact, these are the components of the yoga ladder. The yoga ladder means different steps that go higher and higher and connect it with Krishna. Okay, so the lowest step in the yoga ladder is this karma kanda section. And then higher than that is sakam karma, then nishkam karma, then you can cultivate jnana like that. So as we progress higher and higher, where gradually we become more detached from the fruitive aspect, from the sense gratification aspect, then we come closer and closer to Krishna. Krishna recognizes it's typically a gradual process for most people because the conditioning is very deep. So we have to find our place in the yoga ladder where we can, which works for us. Because sometimes we might think, oh, I'm ready to be at the highest stage. And then we attempt at doing it, but we are not fully mentally and emotionally and materially prepared to be there. So Krishna will help us understand where we are, and he tells us how we can identify. Yes, Prabhu.
Actually, I have the question. If you can elaborate on like the karma kanda and karma yoga. Karma kanda, is it like if you do a puja, like if you like like do a housewarming, grah pravesh or something like that, or and then but you're still connecting with the Supreme. Isn't that because you want the Lord to come to bless your house? And like if you can,
It's a very good question. Very good question. Because even certain activities that resemble karma kanda, when they're done by devotees, for example, we buy a house, the devotional flavor of that particular activity, like a housewarming, because it is fully infused with the holy names of Krishna, with the aim that this house is meant for as a temple of the Lord. This house is not mine, it is the Lord's house. That karma kanda, which is done 100% for the pleasure of the Lord, actually falls within bhakti yoga. And it's not karma kanda. It's actually the highest level. When you incorporate every aspect of your life and the goal is clearly Krishna and nothing for me, I don't care this house and the nice paints and this and that and first class facilities. They are meant only for Krishna's pleasure. This kitchen with the nice countertops and everything, it is meant so that I can make the perfect offering, best possible offering for the pleasure of the Lord. You see, it's the same thing we're doing. But the consciousness becomes so flipped towards Krishna that even activities that look like karma kanda are actually bhakti yoga only. So that is why karma kanda can be done in a bhakti flavor or in a materialistic flavor, where we are trying to appease all the 330 million demigods, Sastina Indro, and Indra is a big part of this thing. But for devotees, we don't even bother with trying to appease the demigods because Krishna is a big boss, So in which case the devotees' version of this will be quite different. This is why in Vaishnava traditions, when you do karma kanda kind of activities and weddings and all, they look different. The mantras are different. The procedures are different. They're not standard like the demigod worship that you find in Vedic karma kanda. They're different because they're done by Vaishnavas. So it's higher. Is that clear, Mataji?
Yeah. I have to think about it a little more. I have to,
Why there's difference?
I'm sorry?
You follow what I'm saying? The point is, it's a matter of consciousness, and the consciousness and what exactly you end up doing.
So, Prabhu, how do you differ this karma versus me? I do my Nitya karma, which is I do Sandhyavandan in the morning and evening. How do you define this karma versus the karma kanda that I do every day, where I'm actually invoking the Supreme Creator anyway in the Gayatri Mantra? That's what Gayatri Mantra is, nothing but asking the Supreme Creator to illuminate my knowledge to understand you more. That's what basically is, which I've been doing since I'm 9 years old. So how do you differentiate that?
Yeah, you differentiate like the Sandhya Vandanam that you do in your tradition. Your tradition is 100% Krishna conscious tradition, which is why the aim is Krishna 100%. The aim is to please Krishna. Whereas the materialist karma kandi, the aim is to, okay, somehow Krishna's name is there. That's not so important. Aim is that, whether you say Narayan's name or Indra's name, I need to get the car, basically.
Understood. Okay.
I can give an example. So I did not know how karma kanda works so much, but I had a colleague who she mentioned that our Vedas and everything has so many fruitive things, and they actually provide. And when I read Bhagavad-gita, it mentioned that yes, demigods are there and they have prescribed duty, and then they give the benediction like how Lord Brahma gave. So she was specifically chanting a particular mantra so she could attain gold. So I guess there are mantras, and not everybody, most of us don't come from that background, so we don't.
No, I totally get that. Yeah. That's, I known that because people used to approach my father, say, I'm in these business laws. Can you give me something that I could attain whatever I need to? I mean, these things are very common, especially, we see the day to day. I mean, when my grandma was there, people used to come and ask her for help, to give some mantra, whatever. She always used to say, Krishna said, Sarvadharman Parijyaja Mama Ekam Sharanam Raja. I said, just go to him, he will do everything. I said, why do you go to, Chaprasi or a clerk in the office? Just go straight to the boss. So she used to give that example to people. I said, don't do all these other things, just go to the Supreme. So, that's how we are very used to, just to attach to Supreme. That's it, nothing else,
Yeah.
But isn't it also kind of like a fruitive result for yourself that you want, how do you not fall into that, you're doing this and not, how is it not a fruitive result?
No, it is again, it's a matter of consciousness, which is why Prabhupada, when devotees ask Prabhupada, how should we pray if you want something specific, Prabhupada said, generally we don't pray for specific things like that. But if you do want something to help you in your service to the Lord, you can say, my Lord, if you so desire, please make it that we can purchase this property so that we build your temple. Or please make it that this particular plot of land, I can buy it, so then when I build a house, I'll have nice home programs to glorify Him, if you so desire. So now the desire is mine. And it appears to be a selfish desire, because I want that plot of land in my name, that my children will inherit. And I want to build a house on that plot in my name. But my prayer to the Lord is, first, if you so desire. Second, when I get this facility, my aim is to glorify your name and use it to spread the glories of your name. So the aim is always Krishna. If the aim remains Krishna 100%, then those activities that resemble selfishness are pure bhakti yoga.
Okay. Okay. So it's not a selfish thing when you're thinking, because you're always told you shouldn't ask the Lord for anything. You should just get yourself absorbed into Him. But it's like, how do you not fall in the trap of asking for anything?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to ask, who else are you going to ask? Ultimately, the Krishna conscious process that you see the Lord as your close friend, and you can check with him. My Lord, what do you think I'm doing this? Is it okay? I'm doing this for you. Do you think you like it? Hey, I'm trying it. Do you have some connections? Please hook me up, like a friend, like that, because it helps you develop a closer relationship with the Lord. Ultimately, what's going to happen is going to happen. What is allowed in your karma or what is allowed by the Lord to you, only you'll get that. Even if you pray, if he doesn't think it's a good idea for you, he will not give it. And we should be detached from that also. If you desire, let it happen. If not, it's okay. That is the proper attitude of a devotee, detached. Labha labho, jaya jaya. Sukhe. Right?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you,
Priya.
Prabhu.
Priya had a question. Her hand is up for a while. It's turned blue now. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Actually, my question was really in line with, Mataji and Prabhuji's discussion, like, how just like they said, we do so many pujas, like a housewarming puja or a puja on the child's first birthday, and so many pujas that are there as part of our tradition and ritual. And ultimately, I mean, of course, we invoke the Lord for, say, if it's a child's first birthday, we invoke the Lord or we ask for the Lord's blessings for the child. And similarly, like even for the housewarming, you're praying to the Lord and you're doing all the puja to bless the house. So I just felt that at the end of everything, you are invoking the Lord. You are, of course, but then that ultimately it is for your, like just maybe a teeny bit of a personal thing that, Lord, like my child's done. I mean, he's just completed 1 year. So, bless him, be with him, keep him healthy, happy, give him a good life. Or like this house we've got, please, reside in our house, bless this house. So I just thought that, oh, here he is. So I just thought that there may be like a teeny tiny bit of personal, personal, what do you say, wish also in our prayers. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is always been a very confusing component, that what is mine and what is the Lord, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's selfish for me to ask my Lord. I mean, am I bothering you by asking this? Or
Yeah.
I don't bother you, but this is my really deep selfish thing. But Srila Prabhupada explains the purport very nicely. He says that, okay, there's a verse we'll learn it later in Bhagavad-gita. There are 4 kinds of people who approach the Lord. 4 kinds of very pious people. One who needs wealth, one who's suffering from some issues, or someone who's curious, someone who's knowledgeable. There are 4 kinds of people who approach the Lord. Srila Prabhupada says, even though it sounds like they are sakama bhaktas, they're sakama, they want particular things, actually they are not. He mentions that they're not selfish. One, because they're approaching the Lord. Now, suppose I want something for my son, that my Lord, please make sure that my son, he grows up to be healthy. Please, my Lord, I want him to be strong and healthy. His bones must be strong, and I want him to not have a very weak body that's sickly. I want to be free from disease. Is that a selfish request to the Lord? Actually, it is not. Why? Because we first started by saying, my Lord, this boy here, he's your child.
Yeah.
He's not mine.
Right.
You have entrusted him in my care. He somehow crawled into my temple. I'm serving you. And what is this? Some kid has come in the temple. Basically, it's like that. We are all randomly brought together like straws or like seaweed on the beach by one waves of time. And then the wave of time will come, we'll be separated. So my Lord, hey, this 3-4 pieces of seaweed are with me, stuck with me. They are yours. They're not mine. It is an illusion for me to think they are mine. But somehow they stuck with me. And according to the social construct, people tell me I'm supposed to take care of them. Okay, fine. Help me take care of your people.
Okay.
You are the one who's powerful. And actually, those are wise. They'll realize that, no, they're not taking care of these people. It's the Lord.
Yeah.
I am in illusion if I think that I am feeding my family.
Right.
The Lord. There's so many people out there who never had parents, but they do so well. The Lord feeds them.
Yes.
The Lord takes care of them. And there's so many people who have lots of wealth and so much family, everything, but somehow the kids didn't survive. Whatever the Lord does, that's going to happen to that person. You see? So it's a matter of consciousness, acceptance, and understanding of the supremacy of the Lord and the proprietorship of the Lord. Therefore, when we are given resources at our disposal by the Lord, first and foremost, we recognize these are the Lord's resources, including my own body. My own body is not mine, it is your resource, my Lord. So help me take care of it so I can serve you better. Whatever you feel, fine, but help me a little bit. My Lord, I'm trying to engage these other resources. We use the same word in corporate. Resources means people nowadays, right? Human resources. Engage these human resources in your service, my CEO. Then you recognize the ownership. See, when I'm doing human resource management, they're not my people. They're employees of the Lord. They're employees of the actual CEO. So helping these people, and when I ask the CEO, hey, please help me. I need this person needs another new keyboard. The keyboard is broken. It's not from me. So what if that person is my team member? That keyboard is the CEO's, and the person belongs to the CEO as an employee. It's a matter of consciousness understanding. It's not selfish. My point is not selfish. So fully and freely communicate with the Lord. What do you want? Because as long as your aim is to please the Lord and engage them in pleasing the Lord, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good question. These are awesome, deep questions. I really appreciate them. All right. Anyone else? Think we're good? Anyone else have any questions or discussion?
Prabhuji, I just have a question. Ashish here.
Yes, Prabhu.
In one of the slides, Arjuna is saying that by not doing the fight, I will be known as a sadhu and people will know me. So that is a better way to live the life, right? And in the next slide, Krishna says, no, you are a warrior and you have to fight. So I believe the way of fighting and everything, that is not applicable today. So what is your view on that one? Like how we should fight in today's situation? How we handle the situation today?
Absolutely. Very good question. Because most of us don't own bows and arrows like Arjuna.
And Gandhiji is known for non-violence.
Exactly. So then what is, most of us are not in the violent business. How it relate? So just imagine this scenario, okay? Krishna says, okay, Arjuna, forget it. Don't fight. And Arjuna says, yes, I'm going to be sadhu. I'm going to be a beggar. In the kingdom of Duryodhana, I'll be a beggar. Okay? Right. Put away the Gandiv. Just throw it. Give it to someone, donation. And you become a beggar with a bowl on the streets of Hastinapur. Duryodhana is a king. He'll be happy to see you begging over there. And you are begging, and someone puts a handful of grains in your bowl. And then other bhikkharis are also there. So one tiny skinny bhikkari is also there. Someone puts another handful in his bowl of rice. And then there's a third bhikkari, a little bit of a bully. He also gets a handful. Now that other third bhikkari is like a little bit muscular. So he pushes the skinny one on the side and he takes half of his bowl's content. In fact, takes his whole bowl only. And he says, what are you going to do? That point, Arjuna, you will lift your bowl as if it's an arrow and you'll whack that third bhikkari. Why? You won't be able to stop yourself because you're a Kshatriya. Your nature is to defend. Even as a bhikkari, you'll be a Kshatriya. You see? Right. So don't think that by becoming bhikkari, you'll stop being Kshatriya. Your nature is that. You're conditioned that. You're trained that way. You are a resource to the world because of the responsibility. We have the system, and Krishna explains later on, is 4 varnas. The Kshatriya class, the intellectual class, the business class, the farmer class, all these different groupings of society that fall naturally. They're created by me. Don't think it's something randomly happens. I created this structure. People naturally fall in these categories. So you find a category where you fit properly. You work in that area because that is your conditioning, that is your training, that is a background, that is a psychophysical nature. You work in that area which you're very comfortable in, where you can contribute to society, whereas at the same time make spiritual progress. You are a Kshatriya. You don't belong in the Bhikhari section.
Mhm.
You will try to retrofit yourself into that. You'll be a square peg in a round hole. You will cause disturbance in society, and you'll start fighting. Even the Bhikhari will hate you because you're not following the rules of, if the guy is being bullied, let him be bullied. They have an understanding. So the point is that you will not be comfortable. They will not be comfortable. You'll cause disturbance in society, and all that disturbance in your head will prevent you from thinking of me. So the whole idea of Varnashram system is that you can find a place in the big machinery where you can somehow maintain your body comfortably, do some meaningful contribution to society, but above all, leave enough energy and time to make spiritual progress. That is the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I hope that helps. It was a very lively discussion. Huh?
So, so I know this discussion is going really long.
That's fine.
So
If
I'm just thinking, so why is non-violence as a nature glorified so much, especially when, and when there's so much of adharma and something happening around, and, you want to stand up to it, but at the same time, people also glorify by saying, let it go, or, just don't react. Or also, what if though you are born into a Kshatriya clan, but you're psycho, your nature is towards a non-violent, calm kind of a personality. So you could be born in a Kshatriya clan, but still, you are inclined towards a Brahmin kind of a nature, maybe.
good question.
I don't know.
Your question is very good. And the reason why it's very good is actually 4 or 5 questions in one question.
So I think today's class is just going so long.
I have to parse them out, but there will be many questions.
Yeah.
One of the times, there are many questions within a question that haven't been spoken, but they are assumed. One assumption, then the assumptions come through in your questions. And those assumptions are reflective of our understanding of how society and how Vedic systems work. For example, you mentioned that what if you're born in Kshatriya family, but you want to be Brahmin? I'm a Kshatriya, why am I, But Krishna, he says, Chatur Varnam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. 4 Varnas I have created, Maya Shishtam, based on 2 components, Guna and Karma. Guna Karma Vibhagasha. I have divided them according to qualities and the way they work. He didn't say Janma Vibhagasha.
Okay.
Son of a doctor is not a doctor unless he actually goes to medical school. Son of a lawyer unless he actually goes through the bar. Okay. So my point is, he may have a good chance of becoming a doctor if his father is a doctor, but if he's not qualified, he's not a doctor. So that's one aspect. Birth has nothing to do with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Was violence versus non-violence. Now, like you said, what if he's a psycho? Imagine, have you seen, there's a video clip I saw on YouTube somewhere. There's a gorilla who got hold of a machine gun. He started shooting randomly.
Oh my God. Okay.
Actually showed in Africa, this little clip, that this bunch of like African rebels in the forest. They had all this machine gun, they're joking, and then some gorilla comes and does these things, and then he says, here, take this gun. And then one guy is so foolish, he actually gives the gun to that little baboon. He's like, he takes the machine gun, starts shooting, and those guys start running away. Oh my God, what did you do? Just shooting randomly. Just because someone has a machine gun in their hand doesn't mean they're qualified to use it. Okay, that's one point. Now the problem is a lot of baboons out there with machine guns in their hand. And therefore they've done so much of the resources that all violence seems wrong. But there's always a place for violence. Why do you think police people have guns? It's required. Even if they don't have guns, and like in some countries, policemen don't have guns, they have the stick, whatever, some danda is there. Violence is required to curb the antisocial elements. It's always there. So it is not that violence in and of itself is wrong. You know, those who are serial killers and who are murderers and just can't stop murdering people, they need to be hanged. Violence is required. At least they need to be beaten a little bit and kept in jail rest of their life. That is a form of violence, right? I mean, they're punished. So that is a form of violence. So it's not that violence has no place. It is just that when the bad people get hold of these violent tools, then that gets problematic, you know. Actually, the Britishers, a lot of people think it's Mahatma Gandhi who chased the Britishers out. But there's, you know, Prabhupada explains that the real reason why Britishers left was because Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose, who actually raised an army and was actually fighting against the British. That's what really.
Right.
So it's not that non-violence. Yes, non-violence for those of us who are Brahmanically inclined, it's very good. And of course, non-violence towards innocence must be there as a general rule.
Yeah, even Krishna took the violence as a last resort.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah,
You know,
correct. He went and spoke first.
let's work out diplomatic solution to this. Okay, give these guys 5 villages. Let's not fight. Okay, violence is really the last resort. That's true. Violence was taken as last option. Absolutely. So there's a place for non-violence, even among the Kshatriya community. Let's work this out. Let's talk it like men. And if you can't, then okay, well, let's just fight it out. And even in the fighting, there are rules. It's not that you just willy-nilly, you know, you fight only within these many hours, and then you only fight with your equals. If someone has fallen off the horse, you don't shoot them. You get down off your own horse, you fight, and there are rules, you know. Yes. Prem Chaitanya Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I know it's getting very late. I joined very late, excuse me. One very important point I wanted to raise. For example, when Draupadi was being disrobed, there were so many people there who should have stood up and who should have become violent, and they didn't though.
Yeah.
So again, so I think if you can just comment on this, because as Prabhu was saying just a few minutes ago, we're not going to be fighting a major world war with our Gandhi bow, but there are so many instances where we will be asked to step forward and do the right thing. And if we don't, then that's when Draupadi, you know, got, you know, this whole Draupadi, this robing pastime happened. So that's a very realistic scenario, which is relevant in our current life today.
Yeah, very good point.
Maybe you can just like spend 10 seconds or so.
Yes.
Just commenting on that.
It's true that there is a place for doing what is right. It could be violent or it could be withholding violence, but you have to do what is right. Otherwise, history will judge you wrongly. I mean, Bhishma was a flawless person. There's that one bad spot that he was there and he watched when that happened. Bhishma, Drona, Pandavas, they are helpless. They couldn't do it. Why? Because they decided to follow the rule of being subservient to Duryodhana. You know, so they could have done it. They could have, forget, to hell with these rules. I'm just going to shoot Dushasana right away. Let's cut his head off. And Arjuna could have killed everybody in that one minute only. He couldn't. You know, so
yeah,
he didn't.
That silence and inactiveness at that point cost Bhishma Pitama bleed out all the blood. And the death of Dronacharya, and then it was a glorious death that they died because they were silent. And this scripture explains.
Yeah, so the details explained towards the end of Mahabharata very nicely. You know, that because Bhishma had to side with Duryodhana because he ate the salt, right? There's a saying in Hindi, "Maine tumhara namak khaya hai." He ate the salt because he was actually employee officially of Duryodhana. And he had taken a vow even when he was young that he'll always remain the employee of whoever sits on the throne. So he was bound by his vow and he was an employee. And then towards the end of his life, when he was lying on the bed of arrows, you know, he was giving instructions. The war was over, everything was over. And he was giving instructions on how to rule and instructions on dharma to Yudhishthira Maharaj. This is how he was giving him this Raj Vidya, how to do ruling the kingdom. At that time, Draupadi laughed at him. She said, what, you're teaching dharma right now on your deathbed? That time you didn't know dharma? Then Bhishma explained, actually, I knew dharma at that time also. But at that time, I was eating Duryodhana's salt and my blood was full of his salt. Right now, Arjuna has drained every drop of my blood. It's gone. I look like colander. All the blood has come out. There's so many arrows. I'm sticking on the thing. There's no blood left in me. Actually, there's no blood pumping in my heart. My heart has stopped. I'm just circulating my life hairs because I can do it. So all the salt is gone, which is why now I can talk to you. I have the right to talk to you and I can explain to you. Anyway, so it's important. It's a very deep topic, this one of karma and all that. And we'll explore this over and over. We can talk about it quite a bit more next time. Okay. So thank you all very much for joining. We will do for 3 minutes only. We'll do 3-minute kirtan only because it's a very short time. All right. And please join us for kirtan. I'll mute everyone, but you can please sing along yourself. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari. Prabhupada ki jai. So I'm going to unmute everybody. I want to thank everybody who joined. Vivian Mataji, Prabhu, Anuprit, you also joined. Ashish Prabhu, Kinjal.
Bye.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Avantika.
Bye.
She and Garv are having a good time. Self-isolating. Okay, everyone be safe and take care.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Bye, Minash. Hare Bol.
Bye, sir.